Moving on, the historic Post Brexit Trade Deal has reached the British Parliament for a vote and approval process after the officials from the UK and European sides signed the trade deal in Brussels a few hours ago. The draft papers were then flown to London in an RAF jet. Back in London, the deal is expected to sail through the parliamentary approval today. The opposition lawmakers had previously indicated that all of them would support it. Now, the Labour Party leader, Keir Starmer, has urged his MPs to vote for the agreement but is facing a high-profile rebellion within his party. The British government has published an 80-page draft bill, giving the lawmakers less than 24 hours to study it. The bill is expected to be voted today and then will have to be cleared by the Lords before it receives the royal assent.
That's why today we are taking decisive steps.
This historic post-Brexit trade deal has finally reached the British Parliament for a vote. As you know, there isn't much time before the transition period expires, and the vote is in the British Parliament for the approval process now, and the lawmakers have only had about 24 hours to go through this bill, this 80-page draft, after the officials from the UK and the European side signed the trade deal in Brussels a few hours ago. These draft papers were then flown to London in an RAF jet, and in London, this deal is expected to sail through the parliamentary approval today. Opposition lawmakers had earlier indicated that all of them would support it, and the Labour Party leader, Keir Starmer, however, has urged his MPs to vote for the agreement, but he is facing high-profile rebellion within his party.
Today we are taking decisive steps, Mr. Speaker, to intensify. He was on the money when he said that this government lacked.
And for more on this, our correspondent Oli Barrett joins us live from London. Thank you so much for joining us. What can we expect today? As you know, lawmakers have only had less than 24 hours to study this draft bill. What can we expect now?
That's right, and many MPs are furious about the lack of scrutiny that they are being able to give this draft legislation. Others say that it's entirely right to get it through the House of Commons and into law as quickly as possible now that the deal has been reached and ahead of the expiry of the Brexit transition period on December the 31st, heading into January the 1st. What we will see today is about 5 hours of debate starting now. Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, will open that debate, putting forward the case for his Brexit deal. We'll hear from the opposition Labour leader Keir Starmer, setting out why he and his Labour MPs, or those that go along with him anyway, will be voting in favour of the deal as well. We'll hear from other opposition parties about why they are opposing the Brexit deal, or at least voting against it in Parliament today. And then the debate will be wrapped up by Michael Gove, the senior cabinet minister, as I say, in 4 or 5 hours' time ahead of that vote. Once MPs have voted, and they will vote in favour of this deal, the legislation moves very quickly over to the House of Lords for debate in the upper chamber and more votes over there. And we expect the legislation to be in the hands of the Queen for royal assent around about midnight UK time later today. So it really will be a very rapid process indeed.
But as we mentioned here, the Labour Party leader Keir Starmer has urged his MPs to vote. He is facing high-profile rebellion within his party. How do you assess that?
In a way, Keir Starmer's Labour Party is much more divided now on the issue of Brexit than the Conservative government is, and that has been very different from what we saw under Theresa May's premiership, for example, when the Conservative Party was so racked with divisions throughout the Brexit process. All of those meaningful votes that Theresa May couldn't get through the House of Commons and more widely Parliament, Boris Johnson will be able to do so. And that's part of the reason that some MPs in Keir Starmer's Labour Party are angry at the idea that they should be asked to back Boris Johnson's Brexit deal. They say it's a thin deal, they say it's unambitious, they say it's worse than the current relationship that the UK has been enjoying with the European Union. Keir Starmer's position on that is that the alternative to voting for this deal that is on offer is a no-deal Brexit, and he says that the Labour Party should not be seen to be supporting a no-deal scenario.
All right, Oli Barrett, thank you so much for joining us with all those inputs. We will be closely tracking this. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.